Hi, welcome to this new tutorial. We're going to create this cardboard material. It's one of the materials that will come with the new update of my plugin, a plugin with procedural materials that I created personally. And you have different folders with different types of materials, and you can simply assign them by selecting your object, selecting the material, and assigning here. If you're interested, there's a $1 version that has 18 materials, and the full version has more than 100 procedural materials and increases every month. Okay, so we are going to make this. It's a simplified setup that I did for the tutorial. We start a new file. I will remove this and add a plane. We go to shading. I will quickly set up an HDRI. We will change here to cycles, experimental. I will change to GPU. On subdivisions, I will change this to 1. Now with this selected, I will go to new. I will change this to render view. Here on the material properties, I will change these settings from bump only to displacement only. I will use this with texture coordinate. In this case, I'm going to make like a corrugated cardboard that has like waves, I don't know, bands or whatever they are called. So I'm going to use UV. I will just separate X, Y, Z. I will use my X, math. I will multiply here and here. For example, if I do this and instead I use, let's say, ping pong, for example, at 1, and I use this on displacement, height. Before we connect this, we are going to modifiers, subdivision surface, adaptive subdivision, and simple. And now we can plug this here. Since this is a linear change in value, it goes to 1. Then because of the ping pong, it goes back to 0, 1, 0. We can use instead cosine or sine. And we are going to change because sine and cosine go to 1 and -1. And I'm going to change this with a map range. And I'm going to tell it that -1 to 1 is now 0 to 1. Now we need more value here. Let's say, for example, now this is super high. Now we are going to change this value to like 0.001. Let's say 4 or maybe 6. Okay, we have that. This is the shape that we are going to use in the displacement. It's okay if you're going to use it with Eevee and you plug this on the displacement. It will use it as a bump instead, for example, as you can see. Okay, so we keep going. If you want, you can select everything, Ctrl J, and this is your displacement, rename. Now I want to take care a bit of the color and the roughness. In this case, I want, as I told you, I want to create like a recycled cardboard look. So I'm going to use a Voronoi. I'm also using this UV. And I will use the color output with white noise. I will make this super small, like that much. So you can see it's starting to look like it has different pieces of cardboard joined together. We're going to keep working on that. I will plug this on a color ramp. And in my case, I use these colors. You can select your own. Yeah, or you can add a lot more, but I'm keeping it simple. Okay, so now instead of that white, we have this as a base. We can plug this already on the base color. So we have the shading, the shadows there. Now this is like too perfect for a cardboard that is recycled. I wanted to add like these different parts that have brighter and darker spots. I'm going to use the UV, a noise texture. Okay, so let's start by using the factor. Let's change this to 40, so the texture is smaller. And the distortion to like 2.8. We are going to use a map range to select not the entire range of the values here, but we are going to use like 0.68 to 0.93. And as you can see, we have already a mask with a lot of different like pieces of cardboard. And I didn't want to just have one set of spots, I mean, like this. So at this point, when you use factor, you're using the red channel of the color output. As you can see, this is the color output. If you separate this and use the red channel, you will see that it's the same as the factor here. It's exactly the same. But here you have two more outputs that you can use, and they are different. So if we make the same thing to each of those other outputs, 1 and 2, we will have 3 different sets, as you can see, by just using one noise. We're going to use 3 mix RGB, and we will plug this to each one of the factors. So we are mixing with this mask a new color. In this case, I used a very dark color, something like that maybe. Something like this, a bit brighter, and another one. We can adjust in a moment with when we can see what we are doing. Okay, you can see these spots there. That adds to the realistic look of the material. And in my case, since the dark one is not easy to see, I duplicated the value here. Or you can just change this to 2 here. And we can see them there a bit more. We are going to take care of the roughness now. I did it simple with just map range. And I take this value here. And I will say I don't want the value to be that low. So I changed this from 0.75 maybe to 1. And we plug this on the roughness. Okay, that's basically it. If you want the surface is super smooth, but this is usually you don't see it from that up close. This is completely optional. If you're going to make it to make closer renders or whatever, you can use just a noise. Same view here. These two around, and we plug this on a bump. Plug on height. And I will change the distance in this case again from 0 to 0.001, something like this. Normal. And as you can see, this is very subtle, but without this, we have a perfect surface. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you like the video. Thanks for watching, and see you on the next one.